Did that work? Today's all about playing with watermelons and booze. Let's get saucy. So Landers has an amazing alcohol selection, and they asked me to do something really cool with fruits and alcohol. And obviously my mind migrated straight to doing something with watermelons, because watermelons are so, I don't know, they make me happy. They're very festive, they're very pretty, they're absolutely huge, so they're perfect for parties. And I think that's when alcohol should be consumed, not alone when you're just by yourself, but with a party and with lots of friends around you. I'm gonna show you how to make two different styles of watermelon cocktails. One will be kind of like watermelon, quote unquote, Jello shots. They're a bit, more fun. I own cocktail bars and I make cocktails. They're not necessarily a cocktail, but it's just a really fun kind of thing to have at a party. And the second one will be a really just simple watermelon punch that you can make at home. And to do that, the very first thing I need to do is just make a very simple syrup. So I have 2 cups of water. These are liquid cups. And then I've got 2 cups of sugar. In a saucepan, medium heat, until everything is dissolved. Next thing we're gonna do is talk about our watermelons. How do you choose a nice watermelon? When you pick up a watermelon, it should feel heavier than it looks. So you know how like a bowling ball isn't very big, but when you hold it, it feels really heavy? Exactly the same thing with watermelons. Whereas if you picked something and it was kind of light-ish, then you know it's not that great. So I have 2 watermelons, one that's big and one that's on the medium side. The big we're gonna use for the punch, this small one we're gonna use for our Jello shots. So the process is more or less the same, the technique is just different. For the Jello shots, I'm just gonna cut it right down the middle, as evenly as humanly possible. Next, for the punch, I'm gonna first figure out where it naturally kind of stands, so this side. And then what I'm gonna do is just cut that off to give me enough space to scoop out the meat that's inside without breaking the whole watermelon. So now, really simple, the tedious process of just removing all the meat that's in there, keeping it, removing all the seeds, putting it in the blender, retaining the juice. We only need this much. Now we're gonna start on the other watermelon. So same thing here. I think I need a smaller spoon actually, and then just start scooping it out. And here, it's gonna be slightly harder to do simply because we're trying not to break the shell inside. Okay, now that we have properly constructed vessels, so I've got a half boat for my watermelon Jello alcohol slices. Then here I've got a completely empty, just kind of remove the excess liquid from time to time, watermelon vessel here as well. So this is gonna be our punch bowl. What I'm gonna do now, it's really important to get a faucet system. So this has valves. So I'm guessing this goes like this. So basically what we need to do, number 1 is you need to make a hole in the watermelon that's about this big. So ideally, you get a faucet system that is sharp enough to penetrate the skin of the watermelon so that you get a nice tight fit. So obviously, I don't have one that can penetrate right away. So I'm gonna have to try not to make too much of a big hole. I'm just gonna use a nice steel spoon here. This is called finesse at its best. Make a hole. Again, do this little by little. The last thing you want is too big of a hole, because then you're just gonna have a leak. So ideally, if you have ridges like this, you should be able to start screwing it in. So I'm gonna put back this valve. Hopefully this helps keep some of the liquid in. Go from the side and start screwing. That's screwed in. Now I have to do the same thing inside. This should and will work. So when I'm done, all I'll have to do is basically tip it down. Gravity will do its work, and then kind of just let the liquid pass through. So we're gonna keep this to the side. This is almost done. Make sure to keep the lid, because that goes right on. Next, we're gonna just extract all the juice from the watermelon. Juice is coming out nice and clear, which is exactly what we want. Okay, everything seems like it's good to go. All we need to do now is actually make the drinks themselves. So we're gonna start with the Jello watermelon. I need 2 cups, well, depending on what packet of gelatin you're using. The issue is, so gelatin reacts depending on the strength of the bloom of the gelatin, it'll react differently to alcohol, so you don't want something that's too liquid either, or does something that doesn't set. So what I'm gonna do is just follow the description here, which says basically it needs 2 cups of hot liquid. So I'm gonna go ahead and boil this watermelon juice. We're gonna go ahead and boil this. Once it's boiling, I'm gonna go ahead and dissolve this whole pack of gelatin in here, and then we're gonna mix both liquids together, and we're gonna add our vodka to the whole mix. This is gonna be, let's say, one whole thing, right? And then we're gonna slice it six different slices. So if you were to taste this now, the watermelon isn't super sweet, but thankfully this pack is basically a Jello strawberry pack. So it's gonna taste like watermelon, Jello, and some vodka. I mean, make me happy. Yeah, it really needs that flavor. Next, we are gonna work on our punch. So again, let's just really quickly try to measure out how much liquid we have in here. When making punches, you wanna use huge vats. That's 1 liter. And that's 2 liters. We were able to get 3.5 liters from 1 1/2 watermelon, which is not too bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and work with this 2 liter batch. Actually, let's do 1.5. So I'm gonna remove 500 ml. I'm gonna keep that on the side first. Time for some Bacardi. So we have to put 10 shots of rum in there. Quick trivia, there's about 16 shots to 1 bottle, so it's almost 1 bottle. Actually, in the bar, when we make punches for people, we give them the fruit mix, we arrive at their table, and we literally empty the whole bottle in the drink, and it's the best thing ever, because it looks amazing, and it taste-wise, you actually don't taste it that much. So what's really important to make sure that the taste is equally balanced is that you have the right amount of sugar and different acids that are in there. So always taste as you go when you do punches. Hoo mama, that will set you up for a good night. I have my sugar syrup here. We're gonna start with 300 milliliters of simple syrup. Mix that in, taste it. That's more than enough sugar already. Then I have some Aperol right here. This is a bitter liqueur. It'll just add some complexity to the whole dish. I'm gonna go ahead, to the whole dish, to the whole drink. I'm gonna go ahead and add about 100 ml. If you've never tried Aperol, it kind of has a flavor of orange peels, citrus peels, some alcohol in there, and some sweetness as well. Mix that in and try it. See, while you're making it, you're actually getting drunk, so it's a good time for everyone. It's already not bad. I'm actually gonna go ahead and add more. So let's do 50 ml more. This has alcohol, my friends. Finally, citrus. Very, very, very important. Another quick fact, when cutting citrus, always use a serrated knife because it will just break your other knives. So I'm gonna go ahead and juice maybe about 3 lemons, whole lemons. It'll just give us a nice kind of balance. In goes my gelatin mix. Now the pack says stir 2 minutes until completely dissolved, and then we're gonna stir in the cold alcohol and watermelon mix. We're gonna go ahead and add in the cold watermelon. I'm gonna let all that chill for a while together, and we're gonna finish our punch. No one's really counting. There we go, that's the one. Get your watermelon. Say a little prayer. If you start seeing liquid coming out of here, then we messed up this whole thing. So go ahead and pour it back in. Look at that, perfect. Close that up. Keep this to the side. Ideally, when you're serving this, you're gonna add some ice and stuff. Take a vessel that you can make sure that your watermelon will be secure in. Pour in the watermelon mixture back into the watermelon. Try to get it as level as possible. So what I like to do is kind of flush it on the side. You see this space? We're just gonna try to fill it with something that fits. So these guys won't see it. Tomorrow should be good to go. We need to leave it in the fridge overnight. So I'm gonna show you how that turns out tomorrow. Hopefully everything turns out just fine. But today, let's try a glass of watermelon punch. I'm just scared because I'm not sure if this is gonna work. So this is a really cool thing to have at a party. And a couple of these, and you're gonna have a crazy party. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll show you how that turns out.